Is the iPad mini 4 worth it in 2024? So the iPad mini 4, released by Apple back in September 2015, has long been praised for its compact size and capable performance. But as technology has rapidly advanced, the question remains, is the iPad mini 4 still a good buy here in 2024? So let's just dive into its specifications, performance, and usability to determine if this almost 9-year-old device can still hold on its own. Starting off with the specs and the performance of the iPad mini 4, this device features a 7.9-inch Retina display with a resolution of 2048 by 1536, which is actually pretty high considering how small this device is. And it also delivers a pixel density of 326 pixels per inch, and is powered by an Apple A8 chip with a 64-bit architecture and the M8 Motion coprocessor, accompanied by 2 gigabytes of RAM. And while these specs were impressive at the time of its release, they now fall behind current standards. So moving on to the benefits of the iPad mini 4, we're going to start off with the portability. So the iPad mini 4's lightweight and compact design make it incredibly portable, and it's perfect for reading, web browsing, and light productivity wherever you go. And it also has a pretty nice display because despite its age, the Retina display still offers vibrant colors and sharp text, making it suitable for media consumption and casual gaming. Now let's talk about some of the downsides of the iPad mini 4, and we're going to start off with the outdated hardware. So this device features the Apple A8 chip, which, while it's capable, struggles with more demanding applications and multitasking. And newer apps and updates are optimized for more recent processors, which can lead to sluggish performance on the iPad mini 4. And another downside of the iPad mini 4 is the limited OS support. So as of 2024, the iPad mini 4 can run iOS 15.7, but it doesn't support the latest versions of iPadOS. And this is important because it means that it'll be missing some of the new features and app compatibility, which could be a pretty big drawback for the iPad mini 4. But it does still get security updates, and it'll probably still get security updates for at least another few years. So let's now talk about the usability of the iPad mini 4 here in 2024 and what it could be useful for. So in terms of usability, the iPad mini 4 is still a decent device for basic tasks, and here's actually several things that it could be useful for. So first off, there's reading and browsing. So the iPad mini 4 is still excellent for reading ebooks, browsing the web, and watching videos. Its compact size makes it comfortable to hold for extended periods of time, and services like Kindle and Apple Books perform well, and the high-resolution screen makes it easier to see small text, which makes it perfect for reading. Now for web browsing, the iPad mini 4 handles most websites without issue, although sites heavy with multimedia content might load more slowly compared to other newer devices. So another awesome use that I found with the iPad mini 4 is just light productivity. So for tasks like note-taking, emailing, and using lightweight apps, the iPad mini 4 performs quite adequately. And apps like Microsoft Office, Google Docs, and Evernote still work, but you could expect slower load times and occasional lag for larger documents. And the on-screen keyboard is sufficient for brief typing, but using an external keyboard can enhance the productivity experience. Now, casual gaming might also be an awesome use for the iPad mini 4 because casual games run smoothly, but the iPad mini 4 struggles with graphically demanding games and newer titles that require more powerful hardware. For those of you looking to play the latest 3D games or intensive AR applications, this device will not be able to handle those speeds. Now the last thing the iPad mini 4 can be utilized for is for media consumption. So one of the areas where the iPad mini 4 still shines is media consumption, and that's because of the Retina display, which despite being nearly a decade old, provides a good viewing experience for videos and movies. Streaming services like Netflix, YouTube, and Disney Plus are still accessible and provide a decent playback experience. However, keep in mind that the iPad mini 4 does have a slower processor, so that means that if you're in a place with lower internet speeds, then you might need to lower the quality settings in order to prevent buffering. As for connectivity, the iPad mini 4 supports Wi-Fi and Bluetooth 4.2, which while functional, are outdated compared to the latest standards. This means that it'll have slower Wi-Fi speeds and potentially less reliable Bluetooth connections, and it also has a Lightning connector for charging and accessories, as opposed to the more modern USB-C found in newer iPads. As for the accessories, finding accessories for the iPad mini 4, such as cases and keyboards, are still possible, but they're getting increasingly difficult as more manufacturers focus on newer models. And the device does support the first generation Apple Pencil, making it suitable for note-taking and basic drawing tasks. Now, moving on to the battery life and build quality, One of the strengths of the iPad mini 4 is its battery life. Even after several years of use, it can still provide up to 10 hours of web browsing or video playback. The build quality remains solid, with a premium feel that Apple devices are known for, and with an aluminum body that has been proven to be durable over time. However, battery health can decline over the years, so if you're considering getting a used or refurbished iPad mini 4, it's essential to check the battery health, because replacing the battery is possible, but it adds to the overall cost and effort of maintaining the device. Now, moving on to the software and app capability, the iPad mini 4 runs iOS 15.7, and it misses out on the latest features and security updates available in newer versions of iOS, and this can impact app compatibility as developers optimize their apps for the latest operating systems. And over time, more apps may become incompatible with iOS 15, limiting the device's functionality. Now, before we talk about whether or not the iPad mini 4 is worth buying here in 2024, let's do a camera test with both the back and the front camera. So here's what the back camera photo looks like, and it is pretty grainy, and if I had to guess, it's about as good as the photos on the iPhone 5. And let's also try doing a video test. So here's what video looks like on the iPad mini 4. And let's try focusing on my other iPad mini so that you can see the details. And as you can tell, it does do really bad with lighting, and it is pretty grainy. So the video quality is good enough on here for FaceTiming and showing videos to your friends, but it's nothing that you would want to show on social media because the quality on here really isn't good enough. Now let's move on to the front camera, and we're going to start with a photo. So here's what the front camera looks like on the iPad mini 4, and it takes 1.2 megapixel photos. And I did also forget to mention that the back camera takes 8 megapixel photos. And let's also try doing a video test with the front camera. So here's what the front camera looks like on the iPad mini 4. And just for context, the front camera can record at HD at 30 frames per second. And when I stand behind the sun, the lighting here does get a lot worse. So as long as you've got the right natural lighting on the iPad mini 4, the front camera can do just fine. So moving on to the conclusion, is it worth buying? In 2024, the iPad mini 4 is still good as a secondary device for light tasks and media consumption. However, its limitations in performance and software support and overall compatibilities make it less appealing as a primary device. For users who already own an iPad mini 4, this iPad can still be pretty functional for basic needs, but for those who are looking to purchase an iPad, investing in a newer model such as the iPad mini 6 or other recent iPads is highly recommended. Now, if you're just planning on using the iPad mini 4 for media consumption, then I could recommend that you actually get an earlier iPad mini model, such as the iPad mini 2, which is the one that I use on a daily basis. It does still work really well for just reading and writing certain documents online, but overall, the iPad mini 4 doesn't really make sense to buy here in 2024. Overall, the advancements in processor technology, camera quality, and display resolution, and OS support in newer models provide a much better user experience and ensure longevity. While the iPad mini 4 holds nostalgic value and offers basic functionality, it's clear that the advancements in technology over the past 9 years have left it behind. In summary, while the iPad mini 4 can be used for specific low-demand tasks, it's not the best choice for users here in 2024. And for a more robust and long-lasting experience, opting for a newer iPad model is the way to go. So that's basically it for this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out my channel to see more videos like this in the future. And if you have any questions or any video suggestions, be sure to leave them in the comments below.